Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Watch Darius TV. I am back with another review, and this one is of Invincible Season 2, Episode 3, This Massive Machination. I don't know what that says. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video for all things Invincible. So let's begin with this episode, okay? So this episode starts, Debbie drops Mark off at college. It's a total big event. He's about to start college. He's a young adult, and she has to let him go, and that's how it all starts. He's out of high school now. I wish we could have seen him more in high school, but they're going into season 2. He's starting college, so there's that. And also in this episode, Debbie calls the number that Olga gave her, this type of group that can help her out when it comes down to mourning a loved one. Mark and his friend William are sort of in the same dorm room. Then we also see like a toy. There's like this type of looks like a dog, Doctor Strange toy, and Mark is going to basically originally going to throw it out, but he likes it too much. It's like a keepsake, so he keeps it. That's going to become important later on in the episode, but. Anyway, so Amber, she basically wants to knock boots with Mark, just to put it all out there. She's ready to hook up with him. She's worried that he might have some I guess you could say super sperm or something like that. It basically, you think of the movie Hancock that Will Smith was in, that whole deleted scene that he had. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, you know what I mean. When it comes down to him being a superhero and him, being able to basically pack a punch when it comes down to certain bodily fluids, I guess you can say. So she's kind of worried about that. So yeah. Anyway, but everything's up being okay with her. She doesn't, explode or anything. So yeah. So basically, they were able to do their thing and whatever. This episode seems to end up being taken over by this like voiceover. I was assuming this episode was going to be all about Alan the Alien, but he sort of like split it in half, I guess. We find out about Alan the Alien's origins and how the Viltrumites started a war with them, and some of them were able to escape. Some of Alan the Alien's people were able to escape and sort of rebuild their society. Alan the Alien, we see that he see him being born, and he can't battle Viltrumite. They're too powerful, but he keeps looking around for one that can. He eventually finds Mark. And yeah, this episode seemed like it was going to be originally about Alan the Alien, but I guess they wanted to split it in half. I guess they didn't want to have an episode all about him, but Anyway, so Alan the Alien is told the Viltrumites are making it hard for their rebel group to make allies because they're so feared. The Viltrumites are so powerful that anybody's afraid to go against these people. Alan tells his team about Mark as he can help them. He's half Viltrumite, so he's strong enough to take on these Viltrumites. There's this guy named Thaddeus who's like the head of Alan the Alien sort of like group, and he's told about Mark and Omni-Man's fight that they had, and he says he hasn't heard about like a fight between Viltrumites and Viltrumite since the Great Purge. I'm assuming that's the Great Purge is basically a reference to like when the Viltrumites basically just sort of like completely killed off half of their group of people, like killing off the weaker members to keep the strongest members. I'm assuming that's what he was talking about when he was talking about the Great Purge. One member of the council pretty much doesn't trust Mark because he's a Viltrumite. So he's like, why should we trust him? He's half of that. So Mark is definitely dealing with this season of being certain people not trusting him. The Immortal doesn't trust him. Because they look at him as, yo, you're half of your dad, and your dad's a Viltrumite, and they're all for taking over and enslaving people. So why should we trust you? Which is rightfully so. As you can see, we saw sort of what Mark would be like if he was evil, if he did join his dad's cause. So Thaddeus, also the guy who's basically the head of, that's the name of the guy who's the head of this council that's going to want to battle against the Viltrumites. He's also being voiced by the guy who does Optimus Prime. So it seems so weird hearing Optimus Prime voice from somebody that appears human is really weird. But anyway, cool voice though. Thaddeus agrees with Alan, but everybody else pretty much doesn't. They do not agree with it, but his say goes, so they gotta fall in line. Thaddeus thinks that there's a mole in their coalition. He wants Alan the Alien to figure out who this person is. Alan comes home and he pretty much hooks up with his female, I guess, coworker, friend, chick or whatever, Telia, and then they basically have like weird cartoon sex off camera. That I don't know. It seems weird when cartoons have like a either a reference to sex or any type of sex scene. It looks so weird because it's a cartoon. They don't do it, but it just looks weird coming from a cartoon. Anyway, Telia, I think that's how I pronounce her name. I'm not really sure, but she's an alien, so who cares about pronouncing her name right? Telia asks about what did Thaddeus want, trying to figure out, what was he talking about, and wants to talk about if there's like some type of spy or something like that, and that's what basically Alan Alien tells her. It really sounded weird, like she was trying to probe him to figure out if maybe she possibly could have been a spy. That's my theory, but the way this episode sort of goes, it seemed like she might not be. Maybe they were trying to set her up to look like that, but it seemed like when she wanted to question Alan about it, it seemed like she was putting herself out there as if she might possibly be like some type of she might be the mole possibly, but like I said, the way this episode is set up, it doesn't look like she might be. Maybe the writer's trying to throw us off a bit. But before Alan Alien can even really finish what he was about to tell her about the mole, he's pretty much like completely snatched out of the restaurant by like a Viltrum, right? He's jumped by three of them, and the leader, Thula, she questions him about Omni Man and leaving about him leaving Earth, basically his post, and if he has a child or anything like that. And basically, they beat Alan almost practically to death. It looked like he straight up died. They even knocked his eye out. That was one of the most graphic beatings that we've seen on the show since basically what Omni Man did to Mark in the season finale. So they completely just destroyed him. Thaddeus comes to the hospital. We see him. He's going to see how Alan Alien is doing, and he turns off his machine. So I'm guessing we're supposed to assume that Thaddeus is the mole. That he's the one. I would assume. So I didn't see that coming. I'm guessing that's what they were going. That's my theory. He must be the mole. They want to throw us off when he talked to Telia. So I guess most likely Thaddeus is the one that's the mole here. Is that what they're saying? I'm not sure, but that's clearly what they're going for. Anyway, so back to Earth. Duplicate is she's working out, and Rick Splo walks in, and they basically have an argument about each other cheating. And Duplicate says that she can relate to Immortal, and this is something I thought was pretty interesting. She says that she can relate to Immortal because he knows what it's like to die multiple times. Now they have two interesting powers. He's immortal, like his name, so he's experienced literally dying and coming back multiple times. And Duplicate, her clones have died multiple. They'll die, but she doesn't technically die necessarily. It's just her clones or part of her dies when her clones die. So they both sort of have an idea of death, I would assume. So that was really interesting. I never really thought of that. I could see how they can link up together like that. They didn't just make them hook up randomly. They actually seem like they have something they can relate to. So I thought that was pretty cool. Shape Smith, he walks in acting all strange as always. That's a really interesting name, Shape Smith. I never would have thought of that name for a shapeshifter, but Shapesmith, it's an interesting name. Anyway, Monster Girl sees Ruby. He's trying to like reprogram his brain to sort of get rid of fear, and basically he does end up finally getting over his fear and axing Monster Girl out. So there's that. Debbie goes to this like spouses of superheroes like support group of people that have been dating people that were superheroes, and their superhero boyfriend or girlfriends died. So interesting support group. That seems like that would exist within a superhero world. If you're dating somebody that was a superhero, that seemed like a really interesting thing to have. Basically, it seemed like it would be really perfect in a TV show, The Boys, when as many people as well, I guess the soup's on the boys don't really die. They actually kill people. But anyway, let me get back to Invincible. So Debbie meets a guy named Theo there, and he basically asks her out to the bar. So I was assuming it might be a possible love interest, but it seemed like it's a little too early. She's still dealing over, Omni-Man and his whole situation. So I guess they just wanted to talk it out, I guess. Ruby and Monster Girl, they go to the movies to see this horror movie called Midnight Slasher, and, they can't really get in because they're basically, kids. So Monster Girl gets a woman to pretend to be her mom so they can be able to get into the movies, Then after the movies, Ruby eats for the first time, eats a burger. So, he's really gradually understanding what it's like to be human. So Debbie and Theo, they talk, and I was thinking that she might not be a good idea for her to tell anybody at the support group that her husband is Omni-Man, because basically he kind of clapped most of the people that was there. They're their loved ones. So it may not be a good idea for her to tell, but We see that she ends up making her own decision at the end of this episode. We're gonna get into that. Theo's lover was Green Ghost. I could tell this episode was gonna kind of be about her. When we start this episode off, we see a flashback of when Omni Man took her out. So I had a feeling this episode was gonna sort of be kind of some type of reference to her. And it basically, like I said, this season is showing all the effects, all the lives that Omni Man has affected from basically all the people he murked last season. So we're showing the effects of this. I never would have thought that they would really go into Green Ghost and her boyfriend, or I think it was her husband or something like that. I never knew they were going to go into that to be able to understand what that was like. They're just showing you all the events of what Omni Man created, basically. He is mad. Theo is mad. Basically, refers to Omni Man as an alien psychopath, and Debbie is kind of a little feeling guilted because she's feeling guilty because her husband basically killed his girlfriend. So she's feeling really uncomfortable being at a support group, also with half of the people there. Basically, her husband killed their boyfriends and girlfriends. So it's pretty awkward. Mark's friend William asks about the whole him basically having sex with Amber. But the conversation ends up going to William and Mark's sort of like last season, their events with D.A. Sinclair, with that guy that was basically doing those weird experiments on people and stuff like that, and how it ended up hurting the one guy, Rick. And so basically, I like that they're making a reference to events also that happened in last season. It doesn't have to do with Omni Man, just basically different callbacks. I like that. So they made a slight reference to those events that happened. Let's see. They get a knock at the door, and we end up finding out that it's the weird dog Doctor Strange toy has came to life. That there was Mark's toy that he liked playing with, and this toy comes to life and is called Seance Dog. He comes from another dimension. But we end up finding out is really like this like humanoid ant named Nuoltz. I can't pronounce that crappy name, but it's an alien, so who cares? He comes from a planet Thraxon, which I remember reading up about them in between season 1 and season 2. So it's like this whole race of like humanoid aliens, humanoid ants. And he spent basically a long time trying to get to Earth to get help from Mark when dealing with this meteor shower that's coming to their planet. William tells Mark to basically save the people. Then he makes a reference to basically last season when they didn't help people when they could have been able to. So basically, sort of guilting Mark into being able to go and help these people out. Basically, Cecil was totally against it. He does not agree with Mark going up to some weird planet to help these people out when he doesn't even know them. He even basically says that Mark is sort of feeling similar to the way Nolan has felt. So basically, sort of saying, "Yo, you're starting to sound a little bit like your dad." He definitely doesn't like that, but he completely ignores Cecil and decides to go on this mission to help these humanoid ants out. Mark tells Amber about his mission, and she understands. And right before he says that he loves her, he loses his signal on his phone. So Debbie cries outside of the bar, and Theo comes out, and she basically says that Nolan isn't dead, but he's gone. She confesses to Theo that Nolan basically killed the Guardians, killed his girlfriend, Green Ghost, and almost killed their son. Debbie says that she wishes Nolan was dead, and instead of being all sympathetic, Theo says that, yeah, he agrees, and he tells her basically, hey, I don't think it's a good idea for you to come back to this group because basically your husband killed most of our girlfriends and boyfriends, so yeah, So there's that, and she says she completely didn't know who he was, and he decides to put the blame on her and says, well, you should have. So he went from being totally sympathetic and stuff like that to totally turning his back on her, basically. So there's that. So yeah, that was pretty harsh. I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, finally we see Thraxa. And he finally gets to that weird planet, and all these people are like, these weird alien people are all, basically drooling over Mark like he's some type of celebrity, and they're all impressed by him. And Mark sees the planet is safe, and there is no meteor shower coming. He basically knew Oltz was just BSing him, just lying about the meteor shower just to get him there. So it seemed like there's going to be some type of trap, but instead they end up taking him to the Monarch, and it is nobody else except for Omni-Man. And that's how the episode ends. So this was pretty wild. I kind of read that some of this was going to happen Basically, when this show first ended, I decided to just check it out, and I heard that basically Nolan goes to another planet to dominate it and take it over. These ant people. He ends up starting a whole new relationship. He basically just ends up becoming a Rolling Stone. Ends up getting one of these alien ant women pregnant. Ends up having a son and stuff like that. So all that stuff basically happens. I don't even need to really even put in a spoiler alert. I don't even need to have any theories. I already know what's going to happen basically from this point forward, unless the writer did something different. But this was a wild episode. Yeah, I can't really think of too many theories. I know most likely he basically started a whole new family and a whole new life after just abandoning his original family. After all of that crap he did last season, he went and started a whole new family someplace else on a whole nother planet. And I guess I kind of already know how this is going to go, but most likely the writer's going to do something different. So I can't really think of a theory. But if you guys can think of a theory, please comment below as to how you think they're going to maybe change some stuff, or anybody read the comic books, you may understand what, you might know what's going to happen. But if you have any theories, comment below. This episode was wild. I personally think that they're going to duke it out again a little bit because Nolan created so much drama. I don't know how can he possibly be able to turn people on his side again, but this episode is really good. I know the new episode is coming in a few days. Basically, happy Thanksgiving, by the way. I know it's not, I know it's tomorrow, but I just want to say that now for anybody watching this, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share the video for all things Invincible. I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the next episode. So far, the season is getting better and better with each episode. And man, I can't wait to see more of Langstrom Levy, how do you pronounce his name? Levy guy. I can't wait to see more of him. He's going to be an interesting villain. So thanks for watching my video.